Hi, this video is an introduction to Google Forms. Google Forms is a great way to gather and summarize data from a survey. You can quickly create a survey with a variety of question types, share the survey link, and have your data automatically summarized in a Google Sheet. I'm actually going to be completing two quick videos to discuss Google Forms. The first video is going to focus on how to actually edit and create the surveys. The second video will focus on how the data is summarized in a Google Sheet. So to get started, I'm going to go to Google Drive, select New, More, and Google Forms. Automatically, a template for a Google Forms survey appears on my screen. There are four main menu options across the top of my screen. Initially, to create a survey, I want to be in edit mode. This is where I'm going to scroll through different question types and add questions to actually create my survey. Change the theme is a way of sort of dressing up your survey, and we will come to that once we've actually created the survey. Later, once the survey is taken by participants, we can view their responses. And there's also a link here once we create the survey to view the form that our participants will see. But for right now, I want to be in edit mode in order to create my survey. I'm going to title my survey Beginning of the Year Survey. At the beginning of each school year, there are certain questions that I like to ask to get to know my students a little better and to gain some important information about them. The great thing about Google Forms is I can literally just start typing my questions right away. For the first question, I'm just going to ask, what is your name? So that when I see their responses, their name is attached to it. The question type for this is going to be a text answer. They're going to type text as their response. Because I work with 8th graders, I'm going to choose to make this a required question because sometimes 8th graders like to skip questions or think that they don't have to answer things. So I'm going to make this a required question for the survey. I can click Done, and that's actually my first question for the survey. Next, I'm going to add another item, and I'm going to choose another text response. And I'm going to have students list, what is your email address? In this case, I can get their email address in a spreadsheet form later that I can use to sort and copy and things like that. Again, it's going to be a text answer, and I'm going to make this a required question. The next question that I'd like to ask is choose from a list. This question type is going to allow kids to have a drop-down menu to choose from. This question is going to be, what hour do you have math class? And again, they're going to choose from a list. Again, later when I have more data, this will give me another way of sorting student responses. So the periods that I teach math are 3rd hour, 4th hour, 5th hour, and 6th hour. Those are all the possible answers for 8th graders to respond. And when students take the survey, they can click this drop-down menu to select the appropriate choice. Next, I am going to create a multiple choice question. What is your favorite class in school? And option 1 that I hope they choose is math class. I will give them science as an option, English, history, art. And then on the Google Forms, we can also create a choice of other. And then students are able to type in their own response if it's not one of the subjects listed. The next question that I would like to ask my students to learn more about them is going to be a checkbox option where they can select more than one answer. I'm going to ask, what do you do after school? To learn a little bit more about how they spend time and what their home schedules are like. They might say work at a job. They might be helping with family. Several of my students are responsible for some siblings. It might be playing sports. Clubs or activities. It could be gaming. And again, I will let them choose another option if that's appropriate. The last question I'm going to add to this particular survey is going to be a scaled answer. I would like to know, how many hours do you spend on schoolwork each day? Because this is going to be a time answer, and unfortunately, I suppose 0 could be an option, I will include 0 in the scale. 0 will represent that they don't spend any time on schoolwork. And Google Forms will scale this, so 5 could represent 5 or more hours. So altogether, I've included 6 questions that I'd like students to respond to, just to give me some insights into them as a student. Once my actual questions are created, I'm going to go and select a theme to sort of dress up my survey. When I choose change theme, on the right-hand side of my screen, many different themes come up as options, as backgrounds for my survey. I'm going to choose the one that's actually called homework. And automatically, by choosing that theme, a clever heading comes up, the font on my survey comes up, and I can see what my survey is going to look like to students. If I actually click on View Live Form, this will be the actual survey that's sent out once I'm done with any last-minute edits. If I want to go back and edit this form, I'll click in the top right corner. And the last thing I'm going to do after I've chosen my theme is at the bottom of the survey form, there's a confirmation page. And there are different options of what will happen once people complete your survey. I'm going to unclick Show Link to submit another response. I don't want students necessarily submitting multiple responses, but I will choose Allow responders to edit their responses after submitting. If a student wants to come back and update their response, they're welcome to do so. Once my survey is completed, I'm ready to send the form. I have 2 options of how to send the form. I can either get a shared link and post it to a class website, or post it to our school's learning management system. And students will have one place to go to get a link to their survey. Or a different option, depending on how many people I'm sending it to, is to actually type in email addresses and send the link to their email addresses that way. So this is a quick overview of how to create a Google Forms survey and how to make it ready to submit to your participants.